established. So it's not enough that you look at your projects from the point of view of how it is compliant to Indian laws, but you have to also think about how the it is compliant to all the regulations across the world. So it's a lot of work. So planning needs to be done very, very meticulously. And since all of you are students who are just starting, this is the right time. So please consider all this right in the beginning. Then ethical product, of course, that is a social side of it. So you need to be very conscious about certain ethical principles, which needs to be also looked at. So this is what I was telling you: sustainability of product and services, and impact cost, that is sustainability by the product. So to the human beings, to the legal compliance, that is also. So these are the two pillars. Next, please. In the chat, if you can just tell me, am I going too fast, or am I using too many jargons? Because see, when I'm in face to face, I can understand whether how you're feeling, but here I don't really see what it is. So in case there is any issues, please write in the chat, and then I can take care of it, because now we are halfway through. So, or the principles are just starting. So if you can just let me know, that would be great. Okay, so please feel free, because I don't want to waste your time, because it has to be something useful to you. Okay, next is sustainable development goals. I'm sure all of you are aware of it. This is one of the simplest thing which you can do, or I mean simplest checklist, but it's in-depth understanding you need to have. But that's very because everything is available on the internet. So if you can use a little bit of common sense, that's more than enough. You will be able to align your projects if you can apply all these 17 principles. And please understand, actually almost every project will have almost all the 17 principles in it, so which you can apply. So you need to really think creatively, and this has to happen at every stage, in the planning stage, in the process stage, and when it comes to your final conclusion of either services or the product, or the conclusion of a theory. So in everything, if you can apply the sustainable development goals, I'll give you an example of this when I'm coming to the exercise. Next, please. Yeah, sustainability vision. Now, this is something which is also, I mean, towards translational research. I was telling you about translational research. Here, the example is about the health, but you can apply this everywhere, right from the zero level. That's what I meant. So, for the community, how it is going to, so you need to visualize how this is going to impact the community. Even if it is a very, very theoretical research that you are doing, you should still be able to visualize as to how this is going to be applied in the community at a later stage, and what kind of impact that will give. So that's very important. And these days, this is something which will be asked even when you are going to present papers, because these kind of concepts, very good journals usually have this as a checklist. And I'm sure this is going to also be there while you're doing your Viva and all that, because today these principles are going to be mandatory. So right from the basic science research up to the translation to the community, you need to have clear idea as to how it is going to impact the society. And if you really look at that story too, you would appreciate it, because there, when they started designing the underpass, they used 100 years rainfall data and the geographic information system, and to see the contours and all that. But then they should have told that these things should have been highlighted, saying that in case if the contours change, then this is how the effect will be. So you need to preempt and give that as the caveats. And those things needs to be given so that your research is not affected. And the next step, whoever is taking forward, they will then take that as a cue to continue the research. So this is what it means when it's when you have to look at the sustainability aspects in the translational research. Next, please. Yeah. Yeah, I was telling you how this kind of living and non-living things you need to take a view about, because our ecosystem, if you look at, it is not in silos. Everything is linked, and even a small change in one will affect the entire ecosystem. So here, if you look at there is the production services, regulatory service. So you have divided this into various aspects. Then you have the cultural the services, because even many things, if you I mentioned in the first story how the cultural aspects of India had a very different use of the technology itself, because they made this needle cutters for a European kind of a culture where at a time maybe just one or two patients come. In India, it's hundreds of patients who will come, especially if it is a vaccine drive and all that. So what they do is it's very inhuman for the nurses to keep putting it into administering injection itself is a big task. And then at each time you have to go and put it into the machine, operate the machine. It was not possible. So you need to look at certain things, which that is why that AD syringe was much more useful, because the way you poke and then you remove it and twist it, it becomes very easy. So you need to look at where it is used, the geographical use, the cultural aspect, while you're designing something or in your project. And the support services that is available. So there are some very good examples, but here again, I'm due to paucity of time. Otherwise, one whole day I can talk about various experiences which I've had on all these. Next, please. So this is what we call it as externalities. So there is actually a big list of externalities which you need to look at. Now, I want you to understand one concept, because we always think property rights is only property for us. And especially now, I have so many acres of land which is in my name. So that is my property right. That's not true. When it comes to an ecosystem, when it comes to sustainability, these property rights also belong to air, water, wildlife, and it has no boundaries. Because what you create in Pakistan, they burn their crops, or they have polluting industries that affects the Delhi atmosphere. So it's not just the neighboring Haryana and all that, but also Pakistan is contributing to it. So sometimes what we do affects Bhutan, because I have seen how the solid waste is having a problem for Bhutan. So these kind of things. So our property rights in terms of environmental items needs to be looked at. So we need to raise above the usual boundaries and then think about it. So these externalities, it is very poorly defined in our usual property rights. So that is why I said MEAs, that is multilateral environmental agreements, needs to be looked at. So you need help from outside. So it's not that you only your mentor or your guide can help you. There should be some kind of interactions with other experts for you to really firm up your project ideas. Next, please. And next, yeah. So solution for this, to a large extent, these kind of externalities are already looked at in our laws. So that is why first and foremost, you have to look at all the laws that are applicable to your project. And laws in the sense, even the taxation laws, like for example, Public Liability Insurance Act, that has taken care of most of the externalities. So you have to see where your project idea, your research idea is fitting into these, and so that most you they have already made it like a checklist for you. So, when policy making is happening, many such things gets internalized. So all your externalities actually gets internalized in these kind of um, legal systems. So look at all the legislations and make sure that there it covers. So that takes care of it solves half your problems of otherwise, you will be beating around the bush. You'll be going around so many things, a lot of data points for you to look at. So this is one easy method or a tip which I'm giving you. Next, please. Yeah, now let's look at the exercise. Um, how much time do I have? Because we started late, I thought. Um, how much time do I have again? Okay, 10 minutes. Right. Yeah, because based on that, I can elaborate or go faster with this exercise. Yeah. Now, so far, is it okay? Any doubts? Anything in the chat? Okay. Okay, fine. Right. So now okay, thank you. That's at least some way of interaction. I can see a lot of thumbs up. Thank you. Right. Fine. It's very difficult because I'm a person who likes a lot of interaction. So I really don't like this kind of webinars. So that's why I'm very uncomfortable. I keep asking you, of course. Yeah, thank you. I can also see some hearts. That's nice. Okay. So example of two kind of a research project which I've tried to put in, which might give you a better understanding as what I thought. If we had this, direct interaction, then it would have been nice if each one of you could tell me what your project is, and then we can apply certain principles and then see how you can align. Because always whatever you hear, even from experience, unless you look at it from your project, your understanding will not be that makes it very easy for you. So that's the reason next time, whenever I'm in any of your CSAR institutes, I would really appreciate if we could actually spend about 5 to 10 minutes with your project, your research idea, so that we can see how to align. And once you get into that groove, then it becomes very easy, because this is all about common sense. And information is anyway available across the internet today, and in books and whatever. In fact, in research, in internet itself, there are so many things. Even if you start with the SDG goals itself, it will give you a very good start. And the way you will think will completely change. Because once you get into that groove, then at every step, unconsciously itself, you will be actually, thinking about it. So that is where you need to get in when you're doing your projects. Of course. Okay, let's start next, please. So I'm actually using the project management principle, because that's something which is easy for you. And I'm sure in your research methodology also, you're applying the project management principles, because that's what is there, which you learn when you are as a researcher. I'm sure the first 6 months you're doing all these theoretical aspects and you're learning that. So it's easier to structure it. So that's why I have also used the project management principle. This is what is used in many countries where when you're doing a research, it gets structured in this way. So here I'm just using one example of a vegan leather. Today, that is very, very an in thing. And a lot of CSIR labs are doing this research on replacing the leather with vegan leather. And because world over, people are also shifting from being more vegan, so whatever they use, even the belts and bags and all that has to be, should not be animal products. So that's why there is a lot of emphasis on this type of research. But this is where I was telling you, always an eco-friendly thing is not eco-friendly in its whole sense. So, Pinatrix, a vegan leather made from pineapple leaf waste. So, even I was very impressed when I first heard this. This was, I think, when I was doing evaluation from the Prime Minister's Scientific Advisory Council. We had a lot of startups coming out with these kind of sustainable, eco-friendly products and all that, and I was very excited. But then, I went in depth, and that's when we had to look at many aspects. And it has also changed now. So initially, many things came into the market, not just in India, in out abroad also. They thought that if there is a waste, because this is the pineapple leaf waste, no, even you have the pineapple fruit. If you can imagine the top portion of it, that's that leaf portion that is always thrown. So that becomes a nuisance, but that was being utilized for converting that into a leather, to make leather. So that was a fantastic idea, and everybody thought that was the most environment friendly thing. But what you should understand is, for making it into a leather, only 80% of pineapple, initially even lesser was used, but recent studies is 80% of base material is pineapple leaf fiber, and the rest 20% is the PLA, which is plastic. Now, next, please. That's where the problem comes, because once this, and these are not very durable, of course, uh, when, and this is much more cost effective and all that. So people in the fast fashion, whenever they have something which is cheaper, they like to keep replacing it with something new. So if you tell me, I would love to have new bags and with new colors with each of my different kinds of clothing which I'm using. So then it, after my, that dress is being discarded, I will throw the bag also. I will throw all the belt and accessories and everything. So that's what is the disposable culture or fast fashion culture which is happening today. So whereas if you are buying a leather, it's passed on from generations, because some of the bags and all that, it is passed on from generations, and you still keep it because it's, first of all, expensive, and it's very unique, and that's how it is. So, but when you dispose all this, the leather, because it's an organic material, it has, of course, when it's tanned and all using chemicals, it does have a lot of issues. But um, there are still, when here plastic is there in it, and so what happens, microplastics, and then again disposal of it, treatment of it is much more harmful. So how do you reduce the PLA? That is the research which should have been thought of right in the beginning. So these are some of the pertinent questions you would have asked when you are when you would have thought of this research right in the beginning. How long will the vegan leather take to degrade? Because the whole idea of the leather or any item, to make it more durable, is because you need to, so that it does not get into the as a waste, and it can have lesser impact on the environment, and you can keep using it. Of course, here cultural aspect is there. Today you don't want to keep using the same aspect. Even a phone, even if it is working very fine, after 6 months you feel bored of it and you need a new one. Or a dress, I remember during my childhood, in a year only 2 dresses were bought. That was for 2 different festivals. But Today, there are people who sit with their phone and in one day 10 dresses they order. So that there's a lot of cultural change also, but of course you need to think of being more sustainable. So how long the vegan leather take to degrade, because you will throw it, you will dispose it. So that's an important aspect which needs to be factored into your research. After it degrades, what kind of residues does it leave? Does it leave any hazardous substances? Does it give more microplastics? Does it harm all your inanimate things, not only human beings, but other impacts on the water, on the air? Those things also you need to take care. How much of carbon footprint does it leave during production and disposal? That's again very, very important. That's where the life cycle analysis and all that comes in. Because when you think about a product, as long as it is very local, it is actually good. But what you're producing in India, Bangladesh, goes all the way to the US, European countries. Now the logistics that is involved in it, you need to look at all that. So is that, so how does it, so you need to have least impact when it is being transported. So if there is bulky things, then you will need much more logistics thing. And sometimes if it is breaking, that is why packaging material, they use plastics, because plastic is a very versatile material for packaging. But we have abused it. That's our problem, not the material problem. So, these kind of things you need to look at. Then what is the consumer behavior due to the product vis-a-vis the primary product? So usually these are all, for example, here, you'll always compare it with leather and then see, is this actually the problem of that, is it being replaced or is it creating more problems? Like I also mentioned to you about the needle cutter. The whole idea of needle cutter was to arrest the, or to not have sharps. Here it was creating more sharps. So here again, you need to look at those things. Then legal requirements, of course, because here leather, and also the cultural aspect, that we don't like to have animals being killed. So is that okay, or you having some other cultural aspect due to this? So we need to look at culture and legal requirements. What kind of materials are used for coating this leather? Because we always know, for example, we see the paper cups, right? And do you know that all those paper cups have plastic coating inside? Because otherwise it would get sogged. So if not today, some of them are little more advanced again by applying principles of sustainability. They've come out with some oil coating and all that. But otherwise, that is creating more harm. In fact, those plastics will enter your body much more. So even occupational wise, health wise, everything, it is a problem. So always the alternatives have to be really looked at, whether it is an alternate which is safe alternate. Um, and then see, now leather, it has for tanning and all that, and even for the effluents that it is creating, it is very, very harmful. Whereas vegan leather, of course, I know it is much more better in terms of the process side. So you have to tick the pros and the cons and see how it weighs. So that's an exercise. That matrix is something which you have to build for your research. Durability of the vegan leather as against the original project. Does this lead to fast fashion? So everything making it cheaper is always not very good. Because then you know that it is going to be harmful to the environment. Because I remember as a kid, we never had plastic covers so much, and it was very difficult. So we used to preserve and keep it. And even for selling it, it was very, we used to fetch a lot of money. So we used to carefully store it and then give it to the kabaddi walas. Now today, nobody comes to collect because it's so much abundant, and it's flimsy and you cannot recycle, so you're throwing it. So cost has come down. Those days plastic covers were costing very high. So, how that kind of bringing down the cost, making it abundantly available can also be an environment problem unless you have strict measures. And so those things have to be factored. Next, please. Yeah, so this at least you would have now understood how you have to use your sustainable checklist into your project. I mean your research. So here the second one is about the solar PV. I'm just giving you an how much time do I have? Another 5 minutes? Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So here, evolution of solar PV technology. You must have seen how earlier days those solar PV cells used to be made with a lot of silver in it, and it was bulky and it was heavy. To bring that on your rooftop and all, you need to have a lot of structural changes. Yeah, a lot of civil construction had to be done. But today it has evolved in such a way that it's like a thin film which you can just paste it on your windows, on your roofs and all that. So all that has happened because you want to reduce the cost, you want to reduce the resources that is used, and certain things like silver and all that you're trying to reduce. Like if you see even your PCs and your computers, laptops. Earlier, we used to have PCs which was like 286, 486, which had almost 2 grams of gold in it. But today, if you see, there's hardly any gold in it. It's just a thin thing on your connector, that's all. So not only to bring down the cost, but also reducing the use of certain uh, resources, because metals and all that is very scarce and that causes major impact on the environment, mining, and then so that kind of thing happens even with the solar. So now it is the silicon based cells are there, very high efficiency is also there, so energy wise it's better. Technological breakthroughs have also happened in terms of pushing the boundaries of efficiency, accessibility, and easy way of manufacturing. A lot of such things have happened. So all these different types of research has happened, all combined together. This technology really has improved, and this is again the future because renewables. So it's not only, so if you look at those two pillars of thing, no, it's not only the it is helping in the sustainability, but it is itself also as a product sustainable. So both ways we are trying to make it much more efficient. Next, please. I'm not going into all those details of the structure and all that. So the project management practices, if you look at initiation and planning, that you have all these as the checklist, that is business case, project dimension, the objectives, stakeholders. I did mention all this, impacts, then and the green procurement. So what kind of materials, how it is, logistics, everything. So this is all to be looked at in the initiation and planning time. Execution time, you have to look at the delivering the approaches. So sustainability is there in every aspect, even the suppliers, then the technology is used for manufacturing, then the deliverables development, performance indicator, reporting, and then in the final thing, that is the closure of the project, how this is going to also affect the future, the lessons learned, and vision to then to scale up. Again, this scaling up is another major issue with all our research projects, because we do some things very well in the lab scale, but we totally forget about how that once it is there in the field, how that can become an issue, or what kind of problems are there. So that has to also be envisioned. Next, please. So just to give you some examples with that solar PV in these three project phases, project management phases. So you need to look at the, defining the problem statement itself, whether there is a resource crunch. Now, the current solar cells, which is in vogue, is the perovskite solar cells. This is, the challenge is limited to this operational lifetime. We still have issues with that. Whereas the earlier ones in operation, it could go on for a longer time. But now, so, we should always think about what kind of green material is being used. So, what kind of, like here, because in perovskite, we also have cadmium, which is used. So, hazardous substances are also used. So, but it is much more efficient. It has many other advantages. Now, stakeholder analysis, which are the vulnerable groups. If you look at the SDG goals here, helps in providing power to remote tribal areas, because otherwise your lines, if you have to pull your electric lines into a remote forest, it is very difficult. So, culturally, this is a much better alternative. And it also avoids the transmission disposal loss. So that's again a wonderful thing. Now, free primary raw material, because here sun is there, so free you get it. But of course, there are other things which you need to use. Just this gives me one experience. We had this in Chinnaswamy Stadium, cricket stadium in Bangalore. We put up that for the stadium rooftop. And when Chris Gale was playing, he used to hit over the roof. And each time the ball used to go up, it used to damage one solar cell. So this was a nightmare for us. And then again, in our field research, so we realized that any stadium, if you have to put, you need to have a shield on top, a toughened glass shield, so that sixers, the ball, you could only go and it won't hit the cells. So these kind of things have, over the years of experience, you learn. Now, because that's why I said in community how it works, we need to look at. Then execution, monitoring and research, space availability, because technology for implementation, skilled labor, whether it's available, how do you bring that, and those kind of things. SDG goals in energy security, gender angle. Usually you think it's not having any gender angle, but of course, because if there is no electricity, how it's affecting the women. So these kind of things also it brings in. It's amazing how your project can actually bring in all this 360-degree angles to it. Closure, recyclability. Even today, it's an issue. We don't have proper recycling of these material, because it's all sandwiched together. So it's recycling is very difficult. These cells earlier, it was very good for recycling, especially it was profitable because you could take in silver. Storage, battery feasibility. So that's another thing. It's competing with ELV. So those aspects you have to bring in. Next, please. I think it's this is the last slide. Next, please. Yeah, I'm not giving you the other examples. So in case there are any pressing questions, I know it's difficult, but if there are one or two, it would be nice, because it's more like a monologue for me. I hope at least this presentation has given you some way of thinking, that orientation in the thinking. If that it has done, it's done its job.
I'm connected now. Okay, I think there are no questions, so
Okay.
they will take maybe some more time to kind of ask questions. But thank you so much for the wonderful talk. I'm sure that all the students must have got benefited and got the 360-degree view, as you were mentioning, of our research. And this is really wonderful. To our very existence, I would say, because when it comes to environment, or when it comes to our sustainability, it would mean our existence. And the very existence of the human beings on this planet, I think is very important. And thank you so much for taking out the time and being with us this morning. And I'm sure that we'll have many more occasions to invite you and interact with you. Maybe in a physical mode, we'll see how
Sure.
it could be done in the different laboratories
Yeah,
because
that
this
would be useful. Yeah,
yeah, I think that that can be done, and specifically for at specific locations. Maybe we can organize it in different places where
regions
we
also.
have more than one laboratory is placed. So that kind of arrangement we will be looking forward to, and I request you that whenever we approach you for that meeting, so please find some time to
Sure,
interact with the students because they are all, as I told you, they are the best of the best students and highly inquisitive minds, and they would definitely like to have this perspective of research. So
definitely.
thanks once again, and I think we can move forward. Is it?
Thank you. Thank you. It's my pleasure, and
Thank you
I'll
so much.
definitely be very happy to do that because that's the way forward. Because I'm sure they're all starting their research. So right in the beginning, if it is done, it will be very useful to them.
Sure,
Thank you.
sure, sure. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Right. So I
So
think
thank you, ma'am,
again,
for
thank
your wonderful and enlightening lecture. I'm sure the students must have gained a lot of inputs from your lecture, and they will try to apply it in their research work. So I now request Professor Manoj Kumar Thar, Director ACSIR, to address the ACSIR students. Sir, please.
So once again, good morning to all the students. Ashwini ji, can I present from here? Huh? You will
uh,
do it? Okay,
should
then I close this.
should I leave or
You can. No issue.
okay?
No issue.
Thank
Thank
you
you so
so
much.
much. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Can I start? Yes. Okay, so good morning, and once again, welcome to this session. I'll now speak on creating an ecosystem to produce next gen science leaders. And now, today, as you are beginning your journey in science research, so I thought this would be an appropriate time to talk to you about how ACSAR is trying to help or trying to kind of create such kind of an ecosystem to produce the next gen science leaders. Next, please. Science, in my opinion, is not just about discovering facts. It's about fostering a spirit of inquiry, promoting innovation, and creating a better world for all. Next. The question which you could ask, maybe anybody can ask this question: how to become a good scientist? Now, first and foremost thing to become a good scientist is you need to embrace curiosity. Curiosity is something which is very, very fundamental. That is the burning desire to know, to explore the unknown, and to question the status quo. I think these are some of the things which are very important for a beginner. You must have the desire to know. You must be ready to explore the unknown, and you have to question the status quo. Perseverance through failure. Now, let me tell you that setbacks and failures are not obstacles. They are the opportunity to learn, adapt, and grow. Third, collaborate and network. You can't do everything on your own. You need to associate with others. You need to collaborate. Therefore, collaboration is the cornerstone of innovation. It can lead to breakthroughs you might never achieve alone. Then embrace multidisciplinarity. Be open to exploring connections between seemingly unrelated areas of knowledge. That's where the magic happens. If you believe, if you are a student who has joined PhD program in, say, life sciences or sciences for that matter, and if you start working in your area alone in your silo, then what will happen is you will have less exposure on other areas like engineering. But if you take into account multidisciplinarity, you explore the problem from a different point of view, from multiple discipline point of view, I think it is here that you will get wonderful results. Communicate your findings. Your research is only as valuable as your ability to communicate it. There is no point in doing research and keeping it to yourself unless and until you communicate your findings, and that communication skills are very, very important. Convey your findings with clarity and passion. Next, be ethical and responsible. Be ethical in your research and consider the broader implications of your work on humanity and the environment. What Dr. Binisha just now talked about, how research can be made relevant or how it should be relevant to the environment, to the very basic of humanity. Stay resilient. There will be moments of frustration in your research journey, self doubt, and exhaustion. Remember, never stop learning. You can never say that I have learned enough. Even till the death, one has to learn. Therefore, stay curious, stay hungry for learning, and remain adaptable. Believe in your potential. That's very important. You have chosen a path of exploration and discovery that few dare to tread. Believe in your potential to make a difference. Then inspire others, be a mentor, a role model, and a source of inspiration for those who follow in your footsteps. Next. Now, the question is how to nurture and produce the science leaders of tomorrow. In a world that is becoming increasingly reliant on scientific innovation, it is essential that we equip our youth with the skills, mindset, and values. Please note the words which I have shown in orange. Equip youth, skills, mindset, and values necessary to lead us into a future shaped by science. Without science, I don't think. So we need to equip all of you with skills, mindset, and values. Producing science leaders requires a holistic approach that involves education, inspiration, and mentorship, and above all, an ecosystem which can provide all these. So we require that education is required, inspiration is required, mentorship is required, but overall, an ecosystem is required. And this ecosystem is ACSIR. Next, welcome to ACSIR, Academy of Scientific and Innovative Research. It's an institution of national importance established by an Act of Parliament in the year 2012. So, what are the components of ACSIR ecosystem? ACSIR is a unique organization, it's a unique institution of the country wherein we follow these principles: innovative practices, we focus on analytical thinking, we focus on societal connect, we focus on experiential learning, mentorship, infrastructure, world class infrastructure, and industry support. These are the components of ACSIR ecosystem. Next. So let's see ACSIR at a glance. At the moment, we have more than 6,500 students registered for PhD program, which is the highest number so far as any institution which is related to doctoral research in India is concerned. So highest number of students. And I will not be surprised if somebody tells me that it is the highest number of students in an institution in Asia. And so far as PhDs are concerned, last year, that is 2024, ACSIR awarded 831 PhDs. Every year, our enrollment is more than 1,000. Last year, 2024, our enrollment went up to 1,400. We have at the moment 81 campuses which are linked to ACSIR. The total number of faculty members is 2,735. We have more than 6,000 alumni now of ACSIR. More than 20,000 publications have been made so far by ACSIR students, which is not a uh, less number. 20,000 publications, and those also in world's best journals. 327 patents by ACSIR students. We are not counting the other patents, but only those where the ACSIR students are involved from in the last 3 years or so. We have international academic collaborations with several universities, RMIT University in Australia, University of Western Australia, then Deakin University. These are three universities in Australia. Then with University of Turku, and we have recently signed an MOU with AIST Japan for joint research and academic exchanges. Next. So far as NIRF ranking is concerned, which is considered to be a gold standard in India for ranking, in the year 2021, our rank was 22nd, and as you can see, you'll be happy to know that in 2024, our ranking is 11th, and it is rising with every year. So we are hopeful that we will rise further in these rankings and make ACSR one of the premier research institutions in the country. And in terms of world ranking, we have 798 rank out of 20,966 institutions which have been ranked by the Center for World University Rankings. In 2021, our rank was 17th. And as you can see in 2024, our rank is 9th. And this is the national rank. So nationally, we are placed at 9th level so far as CWUR rankings are concerned. Next, please. So just to give you an idea that what is ACSIR looking like, ACSIR is a multi-institutional and multidisciplinary institution. We have all the institutions, national institutes of CSIR, all the national institutes of ICMR, few national institutions of DST, then foreign universities, and some non-government institutions and industry which is linked with us. So total it makes a multi-institutional and a multidisciplinary approach which is being followed at ACSR. So just to give you an idea, at the moment we have 82 institutions associated with us. They are located in 38 cities in India. Next. These are the 38 research labs of CSIR, and these are 28 labs of ICMR. Then we have other research institutes. These are 6 DST labs: Birbal Sahni Institute, Center for Nano and Soft Matter Sciences, Wadia Institute, Indian Institute of Astrophysics, Nanoscience and Technology Mohali, and so on. Next, we have Center of Biomedical Research, Lucknow, PHFI, Tata Institute of Genetics, Max Healthcare, TCG Centers for Research and Education. So this next, then few from the Ministry: Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun, National Institute of Biologicals, Noida, which is an institute of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and Indian Institute of Tropical Meteorology, Pune, Ministry of Earth Sciences. So together they make 82 institutions. So far as our PhD program is concerned, we offer PhD in 7 faculties: biological sciences, chemical sciences, physical sciences, engineering sciences, mathematical and information sciences, agricultural sciences, and medical research. We have added these two in the last 1 year, that is agricultural research and medical research. And in terms of PhDs awarded, as I told you, 831 PhDs were awarded in 2024, and most of the PhDs were awarded either in the chemical science or in the biological science, and then engineering science and physical science, and some PhDs in mathematical and information science as well. Next. These are some of the master's programs which ACSIR is running: MSc in food technology, clinical research, heritage conservation, and so on. Then MPH, MTech in polymer engineering, computational biology, and bioengineering. Similarly, IDDP program, integrated dual degree program, that is MTech plus PhD in chemical engineering and many other areas. Then postgraduate diplomas in a few of the courses we are offering postgraduate diploma as well. Next, please. These are some of the proposed master's programs: life science accessories, lifestyle accessories, leather technology, gardening and nursery, advanced wildlife, and then MTech program, which is also in the pipeline. In terms of year-wise enrollment, as I told you, it has been in the past 5 years or 5 or 6 years, it has been more than 1,000, and this year it's 1,573, and which by all means is a highly, I would say, significant number of students who have joined ACSR. This only tells us that the not only the confidence of students, but also popularity of our programs, and the way we are conducting our research programs, that has made us more and more popular with the students, and more students are coming and joining ACSR. Next, please. And this is in terms of PhDs awarded. And I told you that last year we awarded 831 PhDs. In 2023, it was 624. And it's a great jump from the initial when we had just 5 PhDs in 2013. Next. This is year-wise enrollment for other programs as well. Next, please. And go on, please. Yes, this is year-wise publications. I already said last year 3,439 publications were made by the ACSIR students. Next. These are international collaborations. I have already spoken about it, but I would like to highlight about ACSIR PhD program enrollment. More than 150 students have been enrolled in the joint degree program with these universities. 45 students have been awarded PhD, joint PhD. In these cases, the PhD is awarded by both the degrees are awarded both by ACSIR as well as the foreign university, and 40 students are currently working in Australia for joint degree program. Next. So ACSR RMIT University it's a flagship program of ACSR. We started in the year 2017 with an agreement for 5 years. This agreement was again extended for 5 more years in 2022, and at the moment 48 students have already been selected during 2023. This is a wonderful program wherein the student is given tuition waiver for 1 year and fellowship for 1 year, and also airfare and health insurance is covered in this particular fellowship. The student has practically to spend nothing on this, and 1 year the student will spend in Australia, then come back and submit the thesis at both the places and get both the degrees. Next, please. So this just a glimpse of the 8th convocation. Annually we hold the convocations, and last year it was held on November 23 and at Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi. And in this, Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh Ji was the chief guest. And besides, we also awarded Doctor of Science honoris causa on 4 eminent scientists of our country. Dr. Mashelkar, Dr. Brahmachari, Dr. Ramaswamy, and Dr. Suresh Bhargav. They were awarded the honoris causa degrees. So go ahead, please. And we also offer ACSIR Best PhD Thesis Award, which is given, 12 awards were given this year. So the theses which were submitted during 2023, they were out of those who applied, and finally 12 best theses were selected. Similarly, we have Professor Baldev Raj Memorial Award which is for best performance in ACSIR RMIT joint degree program. Next, please. These are some of the new initiatives which we have taken. One is our flagship program, iPhD program. I'll give you a little bit more details about it later. We started with Faculty of Medical Research, Faculty of Agricultural Sciences. We have started a lecture series, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam lecture series. We have established science clubs in different research institutions associated with ACSR, student connectivity through Alma Connect, then publishing of ACSR magazine. Next, please. So our model is that basically we are trying to bring in the component of innovation and industry together with the scientists and scholars who are working in different institutions to provide that kind of an ecosystem where they could go for startups and they could also go to industry, work for the industry, do some innovative work, and ultimately that would become useful to the society. Next. This is the iPhD program. The letter I stands for Innovative, Imaginative, Industry-Linked PhD program. It was launched by the Honorable Union Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh ji, on 7th November 2023 during the convocation. And the first collaboration for iPhD was an MOU between ACSIR and National Innovation Foundation. Next. And we are in the process of selecting the first cohort of 15 students for the iPhD program. The objective of this program is that it will offer an ecosystem to foster the innovation potential of the student to develop product oblique technology for the progress of the nation and for societal good. This program is unique program in the country. It's packed with skills beyond core research, including entrepreneurship, business development, marketing, ethics, and intellectual property rights. So we will have a coursework based on these topics. It is backed by industrial support. There is co-mentorship from ACSR affiliated research institutes and industry partner, and the students are exposed to world-class research infrastructure. So what is the aim is that we want the journey of a student to the sciencepreneur. Ultimately, we want to develop or produce a student who will have a PhD degree, but at the very same time, he would also be an entrepreneur because the kind of training which he or she will get during the program will be unique. That will be in terms of incubation support, in terms of how to apply and how to use the venture capital and so on. All those things which are really required to make a person become an entrepreneur, those will be in this particular program. Next. So the prerequisites again for submission of thesis, the prerequisite is filing of at least 2 patents, and there'll be less focus on publication but more on the patents and also development of the technology. And for program completion requirements are that the student can submit a thesis on once he or she reaches the TRL 4 level in terms of technology. So that would be kind of evaluated by technologists and industry experts. And finally, the PhD degree will be awarded. Next. We started with the Faculty of Medical Research. Again, this is for the first time in India that a Faculty of Medical Research has been established, and with the collaboration with ICMR. This is just a photograph that MOA was signed on 13th of December, and we have already admitted students under medical research faculty this year. Next. We have also initiated Faculty of Agriculture Research, but we are also in discussion with ICAR to see potential collaborations for joint PhD program, iPhD joint courses, etc. So trying to bring in ICAR also in the, I would say, collaborative mode with the CSIR and ICMR scientists. Next. Now we have a grassroots lecture series by Professor Anil Kumar Gupta every year, who is the founder of Honeybee Network, Gyan Shrishti NIF, and this is basically a part of the societal program that is 4 credits, which are mandatory for all ACSIR PhD students. We have also started Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam Transdisciplinary Lecture Series, and the first lecture was delivered by Dr. R. A. Mashelkar, and we are now planning to have the second lecture in this particular series. So this several lectures will be organized, and we are holding it at one lab, but it's all kind of available through web portals to all the students. So you can all attend at your own places. Next. Now, this is another significant initiative which was taken to establish ACSR Science Club. This is a club which is being not only created by the students, but it's also maintained and run by the students. Of course, we provide a small financial support also. So wherever these clubs have been constituted, I think 28 labs have already constituted the science clubs. So you can always participate. There can be many activities which would mean scientific stories, extracurricular activities, science quiz, coastal cleanup wherever it is applicable, health camp, group discussions, and all those things can be undertaken in this science club. Next. Then these are some of the events which are organized. The students came to ACSAR headquarters also, and we also went there to kind of celebrate this Singularity Science Festival. Next. This is a glimpse of ACSR Alumni Connect as network. As I told you, there are more than 6,000 alumni now, and many of them are placed at very good places throughout the world. In US, we have about 204 students. In South Korea, 41, Canada 34, Germany 24. Here, I would like to mention that a disclaimer that generally the students, once they leave India and go for postdocs or go for jobs elsewhere, they are not referring back to us and telling us exactly where they are. But those who have referred to us, I think this is the data on those students. But we would kind of encourage you all to keep in touch with ACSIR and keep on informing us about your progress and about your future developments so that we can also try to see that how ACSR can be useful to you in those endeavors. Next. This is just a glimpse of the magazine Bravura, Ascent of ACSAR. Bravura means great technical skill and brilliance shown in a performance on activity. Now the third and fourth issue of Bravura, they are in press. So shortly you will get the copy of this particular magazine. It actually highlights the achievements of the students and the faculty and also provides glimpse on various other programs. So as you will see, this is available in soft copy as well. So you can always go through the issues and give us suggestions and give us your inputs so that we can include those in the future issues of Bravura. Next, please. Regarding improving perception, and as I told you earlier, that with the joining of more than 1,500 students this year for the PhD program, already we know that ACSAR has developed a good perception in the minds of the people, but yet we are trying to see that how it can be improved further. Some of the steps which we have taken is we are trying to make your work reach the nook and corner of the country by selecting the examiners from different parts of the country so that they can get a glimpse of what kind of work you are doing. They can assess your work, give your suggestions, and that is how you will be moving ahead. Encouraging organization of student conferences. We give financial support also for organizing these kind of student conferences, fests involving more than one CSAR laboratories or now with ICMR joining, so it could be CSIR, ICMR, or even DST labs coming together to have such kind of fests, showcasing ACSIR at India International Science Festival and CSIR Foundation Day, active promotion through social media platforms and media highlights. Next, please. So just to give you a glimpse of ACSIR Student Fest at CSIR IICT Hyderabad and Student Research Conference at NBRI, and as you can see, 100% participation of students. Brilliant examples of where every student participated and was actively involved in many of the events. Next, please. So this is how we display our things at different festivals. This is at CSIR Foundation Day. Then next, please, at IISF. Next. In social media, we are present everywhere. I think ACSIR is in LinkedIn, then uh, X, as well as on Facebook, WhatsApp, everywhere social media presence is there, just to enhance our perception and also to reach to the masses. Next. These are some of the media highlights. Next, please. And finally, I would like to say that producing a next gen scientist is not an easy job. For that, we need collaboration of everyone. So that's why I have written, let's work together to nurture the next generation of science leaders who will boldly step into the unknown, unravel the mysteries of the universe, and lead us towards a brighter, more informed, and scientifically empowered future. I convey my best wishes to all of you for a great journey ahead in your PhD program. And let me assure you that we at ACSAR are always available to see that how we can make your journey smooth, comfortable, and really rewarding in terms of many things which you may be requiring during this particular journey. We are here to support you, just an email away. And I must also tell you that since we are working uh, 24 by 7 through emails and through web connects, so I'm sure that you will find this you'll find no difficulty in getting through your issues. And wherever, if there are any, please feel free to write to us through email. I can assure you that we will respond to your emails as quickly as possible. So with all that, once again, I wish you all the best, and thank you and have a pleasant PhD program.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation. I hope students have the new joinees, the batch of 2025, have really taken home some the messages from ACSI director. So I will now present very quickly, present the basic academic rules and regulations that the students must be aware of. I must say that all the rules and regulations are detailed in the ACSI handbook for the students, which is available on the ACSI website. So I request all the new students, the batch of 2025, to please refer to the rules and regulations. Wherever you have any problem, most of the time you will be getting answer in the handbook. So Ashwini, next please. So admission and enrollment policies, as you're aware, the admission timeline there it happens twice in a year. So you people belong to the January 2025 batch. I welcome all of you to ACSIR. Tuition fees, you know what the amount is. So there are a couple of deadlines that you please need to keep in mind. Deadline for payment of tuition fees is January 31st and August 31st for the 2 semesters, January and August semesters, without imposing any penalty. Beyond these dates, penalty will be imposed. All of you, please keep in mind, fee default for 2 consecutive semesters result in cancellation of enrollment. So please be particular about payment of your fees. And tuition fee has to be paid till the day the student submits their PhD thesis. Next. Academic programs, minimum and maximum residency, as you are already aware. As per we in ACSR follow the general rules that UGC dates and for physically challenged person with disabilities. And rest all are detailed in the ACSR handbook. You all the students must be aware. Next one, Ashwini. Supervisor allocation. Previous one, I think. Okay. So once the students have all taken enrollment, please keep in mind your supervisor allocation has to happen within the first 3 months of your enrollment. And sponsored and CSIR staff who have taken admission in ACSI need to have a co-supervisor mandatorily from their CSIR or the lab and any other institution other than the original lab of enrollment. Please note your DAC formation has to be done by the second semester. So you may contact your coordinator for constitution of your DAC credit requirement of 14 credits and conduct of at least DAC 1. So anytime between the second semester and the end of fourth semester, you can appear for your comprehensive. In case of any delay beyond this period, it has to be you have to take prior approval of the concerned dean with due justification. Without justification, it may not be permitted at all. The students are requested to keep in mind that it is your responsibility to initiate the conduct of your comprehensive examination through your supervisor and ACSI coordinator after completion of the academic coursework. The approval of the concerned dean of the faculty shall be considered as the confirmation of PhD registration after you successfully clear the comprehensive examination, and no separate notification to this effect will be issued by ACSIR. Next, please. Thesis examination and evaluation is done in this way. Comprehensive, it is a mandatory requirement. You have to complete your comprehensive by end of fourth semester. Pre-thesis open colloquium, it happens at the lab before submission of the thesis. You can submit your thesis within 6 months of conduct of your PTOC. Maximum check as plagiarism check as per UGC guideline has to be done. Minimum research, one research paper in SCI journal is a mandatory requirement for you to be allowed for submission of your thesis. An evaluation by thesis board and oral examination board after your thesis has been submitted. The master's dissertation are evaluated by oral examination board. Next, please. There are a couple of flexibilities that the ACSIR students can avail during their tenure in ACSIR. So academic break is one-time break up to 2 years after the comprehensive examination. Any student can avail this academic break. However, while availing this academic break, you cannot take part in any of the you cannot complete any of the academic milestones. You are allowed to transfer credit earned within the last 5 years from any other institution. Inter-institutional transfer is allowed, possible only after one semester, after you complete one semester in your original lab where you have been selected, until the conduct of the comprehensive examination or the third semester, whichever is earlier. Beyond this, after your comprehensive examination, you cannot actually seek an inter-institutional transfer. Conversion of enrollment. So PhD students who have taken admission as a regular PhD student can convert their enrollment to a sponsored category in case you get some job in between, but the vice versa is not allowed. Extension of thesis submission after conduct. Extension is allowed for thesis submission after conduct of PTOC. Usually within 6 months you can submit, but with special permission you can also submit beyond that period with several permissions. And your PhD tenure, which is usually maximum is 6 years, but with special permission and through re-registration, you can get 2 extra years to complete your PhD. After completion of PTOC, the pre-thesis open colloquium, the students can seek exemption from physical presence at the lab. They can take up job somewhere, but submit their thesis within the timeline. All the ACSI students, the new students must will be assigned ACSI email ID. It will be created by ACSI headquarters for each of you, and you will be getting shortly your login ID and login credentials and password. Next. So while you are enrolled in ACSIR, certain grievance redressal provision is also there. So if you face any problem at your lab, please report to your ACSI coordinator at the institute. Depending on the nature of the grievance, the institutional academic committee may be approached, and this can be done through the coordinator. And any other issues, you can also contact ACSI headquarters. Associate Director Student Affairs is there to help you out, and the senior managers in ACSI are available 24/7. The contact number are all available on the ACSI website. So here, please, students are requested to please note the important contacts and email IDs. So for these email IDs are also available on the ACSI handbook. So for your specific request, please use these email IDs so that all your queries can be attended to in a timely manner. So I think this is it. So this is a summary of all the rules and regulations for the new students. I thank all of you